Hi guys, let's see if we can start this old Husqvarna. It's Husqvarna 45. It's been stored for a while. I'm not sure if it's actually running. Can open a little bit choke. We can feel that. Well, this starter cord running, but doesn't get any sparks. It might be some spark problem. It might be some kind of fuel line problem. Well, let's figure out. Here we have the air filter. Here we have air filter, fuel line, fuel filter. Have the coil, muffler. Let's see how's it going with the spark plug. Well, it's a little bit wet. You can see that the gap is not too big actually. We can use this measurement tool, and for Husqvarna it should be about 0.5 millimeters. So let's see, 0.5 millimeters. We just need to drag it. Yeah, it's tight, but not too tight, not too loose. So it should work. Let's see if we can actually get it running. Well, I can clearly see the spark is going. You can see it here. So it shouldn't be a problem with the spark plug. We can see also how's the piston. You can see it there. Well, let's try to drain the gas. So since it's been laying for a while, there might be also the gas problem. I can see clearly that, well, actually there are some gas, so it's not exactly clear how long he's been there for a while, probably. can see it changed the color. Actually, it's yellowish. Well, apparently it's been there for quite some time. I'm going to put a little bit of the gas inside, fresh gas. But before we can before that we can actually try to put some fresh gas into the fuel line here. So I'm just going to plug. I'm going to take this filter out and see if I can spray some fresh gas inside. Well, I can feel the compression, but still nothing is actually happening. Let's see how it's going with the spark plug. Well, it's wet, but we don't get any fire inside the cylinder. So let's clean it. Let's try to see if we can get the spark again. Oh yes, it's there. You can actually see it. Right, let's give it a try. And to give it a shot of gas. Nope. So the next thing that we can see here is that the filter is relatively clear. It's not too much dust on the top. There are some few particles, but it's not too dirty. The spark is there, so maybe what can be is the carburetor. So let's see how we can get the things out and if we can actually fix it and get it running. You can see the filter. Take the filter out. Right, now it's a bit tricky with the carb. So to remove the carburetor, we need to unscrew these two screws, and then there is a metal thread that we need to carefully remove from this side. Well, actually you can see it's not too dirty. I'm going to try to spray a bit of carb cleaner here and there to see if I can actually clean. Well, here is where the fuel line is going to be connected, and you can see that, well, apparently it's clogged. So there should be fuel coming out, but I don't see any. Therefore I need to try to remove this screw. There was some sediment coming out. You can see it here. Right, I'm going to put it back. Now I'm going to I'm gonna clean everything that I can find here in the carburetor. The mechanism looked quite clean in this particular case. see now if I'm spraying inside there is a fuel dripping, which is a positive thing. Going to clean everything, all gaskets that are here. Right, here we have Husqvarna 45 engine. I took everything apart, and now the challenge that we have this clutch here, and we have also the flywheel that we need to take out. The problem that you can't really put anything here, like for example some metal stick, because you're going to break these ribs here. So the trick is you'll need to unscrew the spark plug. You need to put inside a lot of wire, like for example this 2.5 millimeter or 1.5 millimeter wire. You pack it, and then it basically will gently prevent piston from moving. So now I can easily unscrew all things around. So here, like for example the flywheel, I can take it out easily. Right, have some nuts. And the clutch too. So I'm going to unscrew it. And this is the opposite, just be careful because this is the opposite direction. So I'm rotating it to the right, and then I'm going to unscrew it. Yes, we have the ball bearing, just be careful not to lose it. And the same for flywheel. You can take the wire out. Right, so that's the easy trick how to unscrew it. Now we need to take the out these 4 screws. It's 8 millimeters wrench. Right, so I'm going to unscrew these 4 screws. 1, 2, I already did. Right, nice and easy. I'm taking out the head, the cylinder head. You can see that we have some sediments inside. So we actually have a lot of things that needs to be cleaned. Now we have piston here, you can see it, and apparently we'll need to put some kind of cleaning material here to remove all the dust. You can see it's really a lot. Yeah, you can see the piston, and what's the challenge is that you have piston here and there are a lot of scratches, so we're going to fix it too. See, the piston, the flywheel needs to be cleaned. Here we have some sediment. It's not too heavily used, but at least from this side I'll need to clean it. Right, so I'm going to clean all these things. I'm going to use old gas that I have. It's pretty good detergent. So I'm going to remove everything from here and going to clean it with the sandpaper, maybe around 1000 or something. Yeah. Guys, now I have everything out. The next thing, I'm going to clean crankshaft. I'm going to clean piston. You can see it's all dirty. Needs to be cleaned. I'll put some grease into the ball bearings. Also, I'm going to clean the base. You can see it's pretty dirty. Yeah. From all sides. I'm going to put some acetone in here. Cylinder head will act almost like a carb cleaner. Oh, wow, you can see how much dirt it is in here. So the next step will be to clean cylinder head, to put things into the bowl, to clean them with the gasoline and to make them look really nice. Now here we have the crankshaft, we have the piston, and as I told before, here you can see scratches. It's probably there were some metal shavings in the leftovers of oil, and and gas. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the sandpaper. It's like 1200. I'm going to clean the piston a little bit. Now to clean the piston, we'll need to do it sidewise, so we don't need to do it along the movement of the piston, but side by side. You see it here. Clean it a little bit. Right, so I cleaned the piston. Here is how it looks. Now you can see it nice and shiny. I also cleaned the whole crankshaft. I'm going to put some grease in here and here. And yeah, we'll see how the performance changes. See how it looks now. So one important step is to clean the piston. So this part was facing the air intake, and this part was facing actually the exhaust. So here you can see actually, well, it's quite visible here, scratches. So probably it was done because there wasn't enough oil, or the chainsaw was heating a lot. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use first sandpaper 240, and the next thing that I'm going to use is sandpaper 1200. Right guys, we have a challenge here. So the challenge is that this flywheel is attached to crankshaft. And the thing is that I can't really take it out. So the problem here is that we have bigger diameter on this side than on this. It basically, it kind of fixed on top of the crankshaft, so I can't really take it, and I don't want to put anything, you know, to help it out, because I'm going to break either this kind of plastic gasket or create something here. So to remove this one, actually there is a small trick. You need to use 2 bricks to hold the flywheel. You need this pin. It's used for mostly for let's say nails, when you need to hide the nails. You put it here, so you fix the flywheel, maybe 2 bricks or something, and you hit with the hammer. So try to hit couple times, try to spray WD-40, and then it comes out. So here you can see how it looks inside. So this diameter is much bigger than this one, so that's why it was stuck in here. The next thing that I have to clean everything on this cylinder head. So you can see that there was some oil dripping, so apparently it wasn't let's say fixed, or there was some gap that couldn't hold the gas with the oil inside. So I'm going to clean, and I'm going to use sandpaper 1200 for this. And also you can see here that it's the exhaust pipe, so I have to clean that one too, because actually it has a lot of sediments inside. You can see it here. Now I'm going to show how to assemble this Husqvarna 45 chainsaw. I have nicely cleaned cylinder heads. You can see it's really shiny from all sides. You can also clean it inside. Use the sandpaper, about 1200 grit. You can see it's nice and shiny. Also from the side of where the muffler is going to be attached, it's clean and shiny, because we had a lot of sediment and some grease inside, so it looked really bad. Now the crankshaft with the piston, you can see it's also been cleaned. It's really shiny. To put the ring back, so you have to be very careful with this gasket, because it can move, so you have to be really careful not to damage when you install it. So one of the things that you need to keep in mind, that these two markings, they have to be they are indicating the upper side. And before installing this, actually I'm going to drip a little bit just normal engine oil on the gasket and around here. Just to grease it a little bit. Well, it's 4-stroke oil. To be really careful with this one. Right. Now I'm going to put a little bit of the two-stroke oil, so you can see it's reddish color. It's quite different. So I'm going to little bit here in the ball bearing here, because I mean these parts anyway will be greased when the engine is running. I tend also have to put it a little bit on the piston, especially on this ring and around. Now the cylinder head. Just to check before you assemble that it moves really nicely. Right, so from here you have to rotate it and insert these 4 screws. It's the wrench 8. I'm going to tighten all of them, not too much. to leave a couple turns before I screw it tight, just to check that everything moves as it should. All good. Yes, and we can feel that the piston is moving. Perfect. So the next thing that I have to do, I have to put. We have the oil compartment from here that that is going to grease our chain. So I'm going to put this part here, so it has to be also cleaned and nice. Yes. Going to put a little bit 4-stroke oil around just to grease it. I have to be very careful with all these parts. I have a small ball bearing in here that goes into a clutch. I'm going to put a little bit oil also around here and in the ball bearing. Right. Now we have this plate, it goes on top. Really nice. Yes, all works. Before that I have to put also the screw inside here. This tiny piece that holds the oil in. It's really tiny. Alright, so put a little bit oil around this one. All is fixed. So now you have to remember that actually in order to screw this in, you have to screw the opposite way. So I'm going to tighten it a little bit later. Right, now we have this plate, comes in here, we have 2 screws. It's number 1. Yes, alright, so now we have the crankshaft assembly. So we're going to put this flywheel first. So it comes in here. You have to see that it's a small metal piece that you need to put first on the the crankshaft. So it's around here, and the same is on the crankshaft side. You have to be very careful. Now it's tight, as you can see. Cap coated. Right, one more step. I have to attach this air intake. It's basically a compressor. So it goes in here. Take the screw in. Right, so here we have assembled engine of Husqvarna 45. It's nice and shiny. I cleaned it, and I really feel how the piston is moving. It's really easy, much easier than before. See there, it's all been cleaned. All sides. Right. Now the task is to tighten the flywheel that I just attached to the crankshaft, and the same for the clutch. So to do this, I'm going to use this probably 2.5 millimeter copper wire. And I have to open the cylinder, so I need to find the lowest possible position of the piston. I'm going to insert the wire as much as I could, so it gently blocks the piston from moving up, and subsequently it will be blocking the crankshaft too. You can see it in all the way, even a bit more. Right, so now the thing is that I'm going to do is to tighten. Just remember, it's the opposite. The clutch, I'm going to tighten it. Yes, so the piston is blocked. Let's see that. So you can see it attached, and the same with the flywheel. This is a normal direction. Right, now we take out the wire. Well, right, now I'm going to assemble the rest of the engine. So first we need to put back the coil with the spark plug cable. So it's going to be attached in here. see it's in here, 2 screws. So the next thing is a recoil starter. I'm going to put a little bit grease inside this spring. So you can see it basically going to be attached in here. Nice. So what I need to do is to make a couple turns, maybe one. So that this spring is basically turning the cord back, so it holds the cord. Perfect, so you can see it holds the cord, it's not too loose. Now I need to put the screw back. Too tight. Alright, the next step that I'm going to do is to put basically the carb back. So this is the carburetor. We have 3 parts. So the one that is attached to the cylinder, together is the gasket. Next thing is the filter holder plate. So the filter is attached on top of this plate. Right, have the gasket. So first thing, you have to put this plate in. It's a little bit tricky. So the best thing is that you take this hose, you attach it to the air intake. can see it here. Like this. So you have to insert it all the way in this plastic needle together with the part of the hose, and then you can actually put the air intake inside too. It's a little bit tricky, probably I have to unscrew this part first. So this part is nicely attached. So yeah, it's a bit tricky to assemble it back, but first you have to put this part, then we have the air intake in, and we are trying to assemble it back to the way it should be. So you can see it's nice and tight from all sides, here and here. Now we need to put the carburetor in. It's a bit tricky. So this is our string that controls how the throttle body works and how the throttle is open, and it has to go inside. Right, so it will go, this part will go in the handle. This part is attached to the carb. So the carb is going to be installed this way, meaning that we need to put string through the screw. So it's the idle screw between the screw and actually the body of the carb. We'll have to put it inside. To be really careful not to break it. So this part, it's really tricky to get it in, but yeah, it takes time. Right, so this one is attached. Now we're going to need our gasket. So the gasket should be on the bottom, and you see this hole. So this hole has to be attached basically like this. And don't forget to put this wire back. We have three parts. The first one is attached, then we have the gasket, then I'm going to put the carb on top of the gasket. Has to be aligned because we'll need to put the screws in, and then I will have to install this part, which is the air filter holder. And now it's somewhat tricky because you'll need to get the screws in. Nope, didn't get it. So the gasket, the carb, and then the air filter here. Two screws, so I have to see if it's in. Well, it feels this part is in, this part is in, so I'm going to screw it in. Really tricky. So the best way is to have the screw sticking a little bit out, so that I can basically feel when the screw is getting in. Have both screws found their way in the hole. Tighten. So it's quite tricky. You can see that we have the air filter holder, we have the carburetor, and we have also the plate between the carburetor and the cylinder, so it has to be really tight, really nice inside. Now here we have a filter, so basically when the fuel tank is getting emptier, it needs some air because it expands. So the air controls the flow from this hose to the fuel tank during the expansion, because the fuel will be going in the carb. So I'm going to see what's inside this filter, whether it's too dirty, whether I need to replace it. here we have basically this is inlet, so this is in. You can see it's quite okay. Yeah, I don't need to replace it. It's like air filter. Oops. So this is in, this is out. It goes inside here and then here. But before that we have to actually attach the fuel line to the carburetor. So you have to use like really small pliers to get this part in. So first I'm going to take the line a little bit in the fuel tank, and then I'm going to attach it to the carburetor. I have to take it more. Nice. So you can see the line is inside the fuel line. Here is the carburetor, the fuel line from the tank. Then we're going to attach this kind of breather filter. It's nice and shine. Well, before that we had to put this choke in. So this part controls choke, you can see it. Open, closed, closed, open. Alright, looks good. Now putting the brake coil back. So to put the brake coil back, you have to see that it has to be rotated a little bit. Yes, so you have to attach to find that these two hooks kind of touching this part. Oops, I got the thing out. Yes, so I'm going to put this little bit lubricant inside to have it nice. Yes, and 4 screws on top. Well, one thing that I apparently forgot is to put this plastic gasket in between. So here, this is the gasket. Here's how we're going to attach it. Let me see. It was this way, I believe. Yeah. Perfect. All is good. Now we have to put the wires, but be careful to put it under here, because this part is getting hot, so we don't want our wires to melt actually from the cylinder heat. So this is the switch, stop or run, just breaks the circuit of the spark plug. The spark plug that was here before, let me try to clean it, because I don't have the replacement at the moment. And we're going to see if it works or not. Well, just to try. I mean, I can attach it to the earth or the ground or the negative, let's say. Right, there are a few things left here. I just tried the engine, it's running. It's really nice. I'm going to put back a few screws. So we have one thing here that I need to attach. I'm going to attach muffler. I made it clean and nice. Here's the muffler. Have two screws that you need to put in, 1, 2, and then you put this gasket, right, and then the muffler goes here, and then we have a small cap that goes on top, like this. Like a small window. Now, I have to use the 8mm wrench here to tighten the screws on the muffler. Now the handle, that's going to be interesting because I have to find how to put it in the correct way. To put these things first. I'm using the 13 millimeter wrench to attach this panel. Right, nice and tight. All right, now we have to attach the handle. You can see in here. But before this we have this small spring, and I will need to use the hexagon screw to attach it to the cylinder block head. This one is a bit tricky. Have to use a couple small screws. In here. Going to, you see this socket, I have to put it on the string and then I have to attach it. It's pretty tight. pretty tight, but it moves, so it kind of prevents from vibration from coming to your hands when you cut the wood. So one goes inside here, you see it here, another goes here. Now throttle. So you can see the mechanism. Another part of the handle. I'm going to put it on top. Yes, all works, all nice. Right, so we have the final touch on this Husqvarna 45 chainsaw. Everything was rebuilt, cleaned, nicely greased. We have the air filter coming here. Have flushed cylinder together with the crankcase. Cleaned muffler, looks much better now. The carb was a little bit stiff, so I had to clean it too. Yeah, all cool now. So I'm going to finish the assembly and run it for a while. Alright, the final touch on this Husqvarna 45. Going to install the filter, air filter. Yes, all nice and tight, clean. You can see greased. I can try to start it now for a while to see how it works.